Good morning, students. Today I am here on the platform of Tarun IAS Academy, which is one of the renowned coaching institutes for undertaking coaching in the civil services examination. Let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. S.K. Jha. I have been teaching the civil service aspirants for more than last 30 years. The different subjects, one of the important subjects which I have been teaching is the internal security aspect. Apart from that, I take other papers also. I teach international relation. I teach ethics. The first important point that you should understand is that when you prepare for this examination, this has different components. And I'm here to tell you about internal security, why it is very crucial for your success in civil services examination. Because you are going to be a part of India's administrative setup. And one of the important problems that you are going to manage is maintaining the law and order of the country. And maintaining law and order of the country requires a lot of internal security efforts. So, why this has been made a part of the syllabus? Because to make the civil services aspirants well conversed with the different aspects of India's internal security. So unless and until you are well conversed with the problems related to internal security, you will not be able to contribute towards the maintenance of a law and order of such a huge country. All right, so this is the most important thing, and that is why this topic has been, this paper has been introduced in the syllabus. The second important point is I will be telling you about what are the areas that you need to cover, when you are preparing for this paper. When you prepare for internal security paper, the areas which you need to cover is what are the areas from where we are perceiving an internal security threat. So there are certain core areas I would like to identify here. The core areas are, for example, the problem of terrorism, separatism, and extremism that we have. Whether we talk about the separatism in the Jammu and Kashmir or the terrorism in other parts of the country. So terrorism would be the one important aspect. Then the second important aspect would be left-wing extremism. Left-wing extremism or the Naxalism, whatever you may call it. So there are certain backward, socially and economically backward pockets of the country. For example, we have the Chhattisgarh region. We have certain pockets in Maharashtra, certain pockets in Bihar, certain pockets in Jharkhand, certain pockets in Andhra Pradesh. So we have certain pockets of Maharashtra also, where there is a problem of Naxalism because of the lack of the socio-economic development or the economic backwardness of those areas. All right. So people have raised a banner of revolt against the state, against the government. So why the problem is there and how the problem could be resolved? What efforts have been taken by the government and what more efforts are required to be taken by the government to resolve those issues? So problem of terrorism, problem of Naxalism. Then there is an issue of a relationship between extremism and development. Now, when you talk about relationship between extremism and development, there are certain facets which you need to concentrate upon. First of all, lack of development, how lack of development has given rise to the extremism. Second facet is, with the economic development of those areas, can we be successful in removing the problem of extremism from those areas? And the third is, there are certain vested interests, because Naxal, for example, the Naxals would not be interested that government puts up any developmental project or infrastructure in those areas. Why? Because if the development is there, all right, so then they would lose their significance. Naxalism has, for Naxal leaders, it has become a way of making money. All right, so they would try to discourage government and government agencies for putting up development projects on these areas. So this means, when they started with the cause, they started with the reason for the lack of development. But now, when the government wants to undertake developmental measures, okay, they would try to prevent government and government agencies, all right, from undertaking development, because they would be losing their significance in that sense. All right, and the dilemma for the government is, it is only by socio-economic development that you would be able to distract the masses from the path of Naxalism. All right, so this has become a vicious circle. So we need to concentrate on the relationship between development and extremism. That is another important aspect. Then there is a topic like social media, how come social media is becoming a threat to internal security of the country? Wrong use of social media, incorrect use of social media, using social media for spreading rumors, how social media is being used for spreading hatred against a particular community, how social media is used for the cyber crime. So how social media is a threat to the internal security of the India, that aspect is to be highlighted, because media is supposed to be playing a very responsible role in maintaining the internal security of the country. If media is responsible, because media is the fourth estate, so you need to concentrate upon what is the role of the media. How can media highlight the grievances of the people? How can media attract the attention of the government towards the grievances of the people? So media could be a contributory factor in maintenance of internal security in this country. But if media is irresponsible, if media is not responsible, the same media, same social media could become a threat to internal security. All right. So media, relationship between media and internal security, that aspect is to improve. All right. Then there is a topic of insurgency in the Northeast. Insurgency, why there is an insurgency or underground activities in the Northeast. There are different tribals, there are different demands of the tribal. They demand some sort of regional autonomy, or they demand the maintenance of their distinct culture. So what exactly is the problem in the northeastern states? What has led to the rise of emergency, apart from the fact of regional disparity between the northeastern states and the other states of India? So that aspect is also to be covered. All right. So Naxalism, terrorism, insurgency in Northeast, social media and security, relationship between extremism and development, these are the broad areas. Then the one more important area is that you need to cover is the security problem in the border areas, internal security problem in the border areas. What happens in the border areas is that the villages, for example, the border villages, they are used as a conduit for circulating fake Indian currency notes. They are being used as a conduit for smuggling of drugs. They are being used as a conduit for smuggling of weapons for supplying weapons to the terrorists. So different kind of crimes that take place on the border, and how it becomes a major threat to the internal security of India, that aspect we have to go. And how to resolve them. For example, I will just give you one solution, is that how come it is possible for our enemy countries who are across the border, how it becomes possible for them to lure these poor villagers, because they are living in poverty, they are not even avenues of employment. So what the government should be doing is, government should be putting up developmental efforts, giving them new avenues and opportunities for employment, so that they could be distracted from these criminal activities. So that aspect is to be highlighted. All right. So the problem of security in the border areas, that also is very important. In fact, if I tell you, in the last examination, there is a question on now the fourth area. Let me complete that, then I will go into the question. The fourth area is the cyber security area. See, cyber security is a major issue so far as cyber war or cyber threat. Cyber crime is a major internal security issue. Why it is a major internal security issue? Because of our dependence on the communication network. There is hardly any communication network which doesn't have threat from the cyber criminals. When you use your email, when you use your banking account, when you want to transfer money from one account to another account, so you are using the websites. So India's and any country, in fact, the global dependency on this communication network, that has made us more vulnerable to the cyber security threats. So how cyber security threat should be handled, what laws, what efforts have been made by the government. Cyber security policy 2013, IT law 2013, then IT Act 2013, IT Act 2000, cyber security policy 2013, and IT Act 2000. So these are some of the major acts that have been passed by the government to deal with that. But what exactly is the problem? The problem that you have in the cyber security is lack of awareness among the people about the cyber security measures. People are not aware of the threat of the cyber frauds. They are not aware of that. So making people aware about that. Okay. Then there are different domains are there. It is a very, we have multiple domains through which we are dealing. When we talk, when we, if you take into consideration the intercommunication network that we have. So how can we ensure cyber security by undertaking cyber security measures? The cyber security setup in India is not very old. We have just started taking cyber security measures. So how could we be strengthening the cyber security measures? Emphasis should be on that. So these are the broad areas. These are the broad areas that you need to cover when you deal with the internal security. And in every examination, you will find 4 to 5 questions on this area. The last point which I would like to discuss now is, if we look into the last year papers that appeared in 2020, the last year's paper, mains paper, see, there were questions on the cyber security. There are questions on cyber security. There were the questions on the problems in the border areas. There were the questions on left-wing extremism. So, see, the thing is, the topics which I have suggested, if you go through these topics, and your focus should be on why the problem is there, okay? What efforts have been made by the government so far, number 2. Number 3, what more could be done by the government? All right, reasons for the threat. All right, what efforts have been made by the government, and what more efforts could now be made by the government. All right, means suggestive measures that you have. So you need to concentrate on these 3 core aspects. Now, how to prepare for this? See, the best way to prepare for this is, first you need to have an static information. Now, I would advise you that if you join this institute, you will find they will give you a series of video presentation. They will give you a series of audio presentation that will make you understand, that will make you truly understand all these topics related to internal security. But if you want to prepare for internal security, what you are required to do is, you are required to follow the newspapers on a day-to-day basis. Any issue related to internal security, whether it is related to Naxalism, violence, communal violence, cyber security that you find in the newspaper, kindly keep a track on that. Static information that you will find in any book, but what is important is to integrate your information that you have, the static information, with the dynamic information. And that dynamic information you will find only in the newspapers. All right, only in the newspaper. So, on any issue related to terrorism, Naxalism, insurgency in Northeast, extremism, or the border security issues, you will be finding every now and then you will find some articles in the newspaper. Kindly keep a track on that. All right. So relate your static information with the dynamic information that you find on day-to-day basis in the newspaper, and that makes you well prepared for this. So preparing for this paper should not be very difficult for you. And at the end, I would like to welcome all of you on the platform of the Tarun IAS Academy, so that you can make your preparation very methodical, very organized, and wish you all the success in the forthcoming examination. Thank you.